I left religion a while ago, but the weird thing is, it didn't leave me. There's this quote I keep thinking about: a bird that has spent all of its life in a cage thinks that to fly is a sin. That's exactly how I felt. I used to be pretty religious, not in an extremist way or anything, but enough that it shaped how I thought, how I acted, even how I felt about myself. And for a long time, it gave me comfort and safety. Because when you grow up with that kind of structure, it becomes your entire reality, right? It gives you meaning, it tells you what's right and wrong. It felt like having all the answers laid out for me. Like, I've got life figured out, or at least like someone's guiding me. But over time, I started realizing that it also gave me fear. Fear of being wrong, fear of disappointing something I couldn't even see. And that fear stayed with me long after I stopped believing. It's weird, you can stop practicing, stop praying, stop following the rules, but the guilt doesn't leave. It lingers, like a shadow that follows you everywhere. And then one day, I rewatched Coraline. And I don't know why, but it hit differently this time. I realized her story looked a lot like mine. A girl stepping into a world that promised love and safety, only to find a trap. That's when I realized it wasn't just a creepy kids movie anymore. This is exactly what religion felt like to me. And that's what I want to talk about today. How Coraline perfectly captures what it feels like to be lured into a belief system, and how hard it is to break free from it. Before I get into this, just a quick heads up, there will be spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, maybe come back after you do. That small door behind the wallpaper, it's such a simple thing. But the moment Coraline finds it, everything changes. It's like discovering a secret, or a hidden truth that only you are chosen to see. That's what faith feels like. At first, you are the chosen one. You are seen, you are loved, you are part of something greater than yourself. There's a purpose waiting for you, if only you follow the path laid before you. You're told there is something beyond the ordinary, a better world, or some deeper meaning. And because you're curious, you want to believe it. It all feels familiar. Almost too familiar. It's everything she thought she was missing.
I'm your other mother, silly. Now go tell your other father that supper's ready.
And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. That's how it was for me. When I first got into faith, I loved the rituals, the community, the certainty. It felt like the other world in Coraline, vibrant, alive, and full of warmth. But what I didn't realize then was that the more I stayed, the more that world started to reshape me in ways I didn't choose. Now, the other mother, she's interesting. She knows exactly what Coraline wants: attention, comfort, love. She gives her all of that and more. The food she likes, the home she always wished for, the parents she thought she wanted. In the real world, no one seems to really see Coraline.
Coraline, I don't have time for you right now.
People constantly call her Caroline, as if her name, her very identity, is just a mistake to be corrected.
До свидания, Caroline.
Coraline.
It's such a small detail, but it says a lot. No one bothers to get it right. No one pays close attention to who she actually is. That's why the other mother feels so intoxicating. She gets it right. She calls her Coraline. She makes her feel noticed, special, chosen, but that accuracy isn't love. It's strategy. It's the kind of attention that lures you in by giving you what you've always craved, only to use it against you later. The other world in Coraline is a tailored paradise, a place that reflects her deepest desires, everything she's ever wanted handed to her in the exact way she imagined it. The same way religion often paints heaven, full of everything you've been told to long for: eternal peace, endless joy, reunion with loved ones, the promise that all your pain will finally make sense. It's perfect, but only because it's designed to be. And just like Coraline's paradise, that promise of perfection comes with a catch. Everything is staged by the other mother to make sure Coraline stays under her control. It's a form of psychological manipulation disguised as love. What really speaks to me is how her omniscience mirrors how belief systems can appeal to personal desires. The sense that God sees your heart, He knows your fears and hopes, and just keep praying, He will respond to your prayers. All of this offers nothing but reassurance and emotional validation. In Coraline's case, obedience means sewing buttons over her eyes. In religion, elements like blessings, grace, and the promise of salvation feel tied to following rules or adhering to moral codes. The other world's perfect, alluring environment mirrors the way faith can provide stability, guidance, and emotional reward, but only as long as you comply. That way, love and safety feel inseparable from obedience. But the moment Coraline starts questioning things, the tone shifts.
Apologize at once, Coraline. No!
Suddenly, the place that once felt safe becomes terrifying. That's how it felt when I started doubting my religion. At first, I tried to silence my questions because I was afraid of what it meant. But once you start seeing the cracks, you can't unsee them. You start realizing how much of your faith was built on fear. Fear of punishment, of being wrong, of not belonging anymore. And when Coraline refuses to have buttons sewn into her eyes, that hit me so hard, because that's what faith sometimes asks for. Blind devotion. Giving up the ability to see, literally, symbolizes surrendering critical thinking or moral autonomy. It's a test of loyalty and submission, and refusing to comply triggers punishment. You're told you're lost, broken, corrupted even, when really you're just awake and refusing to be put back to sleep. Now, the doll is one of the creepiest details in the movie, but it's also one of the most symbolic. It watches Coraline, studies her, learns what makes her happy and sad. It's a tool of surveillance, and to me, that feels a lot like the way internalized guilt works in religion. It's always observing you. It knows what matters to you, what you love, what you fear losing, and it uses that to pull you back in, even after you've stepped away. I remember moments in my own life when I do something completely ordinary, like choosing to skip a religious ritual or saying something that wasn't perfectly in line with what I had been taught, and suddenly I felt like I had sinned. Even simple decisions like hanging out with certain friends or enjoying something forbidden would come with an invisible weight pressing down on me. That's how deep it goes. You internalize the rules so much that you become your own watcher. You start policing your own thoughts, questioning every desire or action as if someone unseen is judging you. And it's not just big moments, it can be the tiny everyday things that stick with you, like feeling guilty for laughing at a joke that your family or community might not approve of, or for wanting something for yourself that isn't explicitly allowed, or that persistent worry that even after leaving, you might somehow still be bad or lost, as if the control follows you everywhere. And just like Coraline burning the dolls of her parents, getting rid of that guilt in real life felt violent. It hurt to confront the beliefs and habits I had held for years. Painful, disorienting, but also necessary. Because that confrontation, that refusal to let invisible rules dictate my life, was the only way to reclaim my autonomy, to finally feel like I could make choices without constantly questioning whether I was doing something wrong. Another detail that really caught my attention in Coraline is the ghost children, for the simple fact that they are haunting in more ways than one. They were kidnapped, trapped, and had their lives erased by the other mother. They're like a permanent reminder of what happens when someone gives up their autonomy to a controlling force. To me, they symbolize the cost of blind submission and the lost individuality of followers, or those crushed by oppressive systems. When I think about it, I can see parallels in my own life and in the stories I've heard from others. People who stayed in belief systems long after they stopped feeling fulfilled. This makes me sad because I'm thinking of all the people who gave up pieces of themselves to stay good or faithful. You start to erase your own preferences, your own desires, even parts of your personality because they're deemed unworthy. The ghost children also give Coraline guidance. Advice that helps her resist the other mother. That's what I think ex-members or survivors of oppressive systems do in real life. They share warnings, lessons, and lived experience that help others avoid the same traps. I remember reading online testimonies of people who left faith communities, and their words often stayed with me. How much they had sacrificed in the name of obedience, and how disorienting it was to finally reclaim themselves. The ghost children are like that, reminders that freedom comes at the cost of confronting what's been taken from you.
Well, I'm glad it's finally over.
It is over and done with for us.
What about me?
And then you have Mr. Bobinski and his circus mice, which feel like another side of the same coin.
The mice asked me to give you message.
The jumping mice?
They are saying, do not go through little door.
These mice actually appear first, almost like the gateway into the magical world Coraline is about to step into. The mice do exactly what he tells them, flipping and spinning on command, completely unaware of the world beyond their little cage. It's performative obedience, taken to an absurd level. And it hits me because I've been a lot like those mice. I remember going full-on war in comment sections, defending a religion that honestly didn't care about me. Like I was fighting for something that was never mine to begin with. I would repeat arguments and rituals almost mechanically, without questioning why I was doing it, just like the mice doing stunts to please their trainer. Mr. B is flamboyant, theatrical, and a little ridiculous, and that exaggeration makes it even clearer how strange and oppressive blind compliance can be. It's funny from the outside, but if you're living it, it's exhausting.
It was so amazing!
And the more I reflect, the more I realize how much energy I spent performing for a system that never saw me as a person. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible are also some of the most striking characters in Coraline, and not just because they're theatrical or eccentric. They tell Coraline about the danger she's in using tea leaves, and there is something almost sacred about the way they do it.
Oh, Caroline, 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 Caroline. You are in terrible danger.
By the way, this sound lives rent-free in my head. The Renaissance style poses, the symbolism of Venus. It's like the universe itself trying to give her a warning. To me, they represent a kind of guidance that isn't controlling or manipulative. They offer insights and advice instead of obedience or punishment.
What's it for?
Well, it might help. They're good for bad things sometimes.
No, they're good for lost things.
That contrasts so sharply with the other mother, who's always omnipresent, always watching, always enforcing.
I have no idea where your old parents are. Perhaps they've grown bored of you and run away to France.
And even in the teacup, the other mother's hand appears. A reminder that even neutral advice can't fully escape the reach of control. I relate to this because in my own journey leaving religion, I found guidance in unexpected places. Books, podcasts, TikToks of people who had left before me, even casual conversations with my best friend that made me question what I'd been taught. Those voices didn't tell me what to do. They helped me see the patterns and gave me courage to think for myself. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible are exactly that, like a light showing you how to get out of the manipulation without trying to trap you in a new set of rules. One of the most relatable moments in Coraline for me is when she wakes up in her own room and wonders, was it all a dream? That's exactly how it feels when you start stepping away from faith. At first, it can feel magical, comforting, like there's a secret world that knows and loves you. But when doubt creeps in, that magic starts to feel unstable. You wonder if you made the wrong choice, if you should go back, because that world, even if it hurt you, was familiar. You wonder if the things you loved were real or just illusions. When Coraline eventually realizes that the other mother was never real and that it was a trap built to mirror her desires, I felt her pain. as if it was mine.
She only made what she knew would impress you.
But why? Why does she want me?
She wants something to love, I think. Something that isn't her.
That world looked perfect because it was designed to be perfect. And that's what religion can do too. It gives you the illusion of peace, as long as you don't ask too many questions. At first, you're told there's an answer for everything. Why bad things happen, why you should obey, why questioning is dangerous, and so you will repeat those answers until one day they stop feeling like answers and start feeling more and more like contradictions. How people preach love but justify cruelty. How free will somehow only counts when you choose the right thing. I remember that feeling vividly. Small moments where I realized, wait, maybe this doesn't make sense. Or maybe the rules I've been following weren't about love at all. You question your own memory, your own perceptions, even the good things you thought you gained. You realize some rules were never divine. They were written by people, and people make mistakes. You start seeing how some holy laws sound more like old fears than eternal truths. How certain rules were made to control behavior, especially women's, what they wear, how they speak, who they love. You notice how culture and religion blurred together so much that it's hard to tell which is which. And when you trace it back, you see that most of it came from men trying to define purity, obedience, modesty, not from some higher power whispering what's right. That's when it hits you. Maybe what you were taught to call God's will was just human will all along, dressed in sacred words, and it's all designed to keep you quiet. The uncertainty that Coraline feels mirrors what happens in deconversion or spiritual questioning. Cognitive dissonance, the tug of war between what you once believed and what you now see.
Deal.
Not till you give me a clue.
That liminal space between worlds perfectly captures the emotional tension of leaving a belief system, where part of you still remembers the comfort, but another part knows the truth of what you're stepping away from. That perfect world starts to fall apart, and for the first time, you begin to see what's real. When Coraline finally escapes, the passage that once looked magical is now covered in dust and cobwebs. It is now decayed and abandoned, and I think that's such a powerful image because once you've seen the truth, you can't go back to seeing it the same way again. Looking back, revisiting those old patterns feels like walking down a dusty, cobwebbed path, seeing all the ways I got lost in the system. I recall seeing this meme of a chicken standing in front of KFC, and it hit me like a punch to the gut. That's exactly what it felt like, defending a system that was feeding off me while I was blind to it. I remember giving up music because I was told it would bring me closer to God, but in reality, it only made me feel more dissociated, more distant from myself. I would obsess over modest clothing, thinking that in the eyes of God, it was the right thing to do, and judging people harshly for not following rituals, praying, fasting, obeying the rules, only to realize now that I was becoming the same kind of rigid, judgmental person I used to resent. Revisiting all of that is uncomfortable, even painful, but it's also revealing. It shows how much of what I once thought was devotion was really just control, fear, and guilt, and how far I've come in reclaiming my own path. I'm realizing now that I didn't have to pray every day to feel worthy or force myself to follow rules that didn't make sense just to avoid guilt. It was learning that love doesn't need to come with fear, like realizing I could care for someone deeply without thinking I was sinning for wanting it. That morality doesn't need to come from punishment. I could be kind and honest and fair, and it's all because I wanted to, not because I was afraid of hell. That I could build meaning on my own, through my work, my friendships, my art, the small choices I make every day. But no matter how much I remind myself of that, the echoes of old fears and guilt still linger. But every time I question it, every time I choose curiosity over fear, like asking hard questions, exploring new ideas, or admitting when I'm wrong, I feel like I'm getting closer to something real, something honest. And maybe that's what Coraline is really about. Learning that not everything that promises love truly gives it. And that's a wrap for today. If you connected with this video, you can like, share, or subscribe. It helps me keep making these deep dives into films, symbolism, and personal reflections. And if you're just here to watch and think about it, that's totally fine too. There's room for everyone to explore at their own pace. But if you want to see more thoughtful breakdowns and personal takes on stories like this, I'd love to have you along for the journey. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.